I realized when Michael was around 2 that something was really different versus he's my second child. I already had a child, so I kind of knew that something was different. We did know that he had a developmental delay prior to that. He was born 5 weeks early on a ventilator for 2 weeks. We were in and out of the hospital. 4 months old, he had a seizure that ended up just completely changing all of our lives. From that point on, he's really been very, very developmentally delayed. He is now 17, and he has the school grade of a second, maybe third grader. He doesn't read, he doesn't write, very little if he does. We're working at school on trying to get him to learn life skills. We're no longer learning the regular social studies and math and all that. He's just learning the basics, how to count money back.
It was a mid-December evening in a room of heavy breathing when I looked into a little baby's eyes. Like the ships that sail the ocean, he had captured my emotions, wrapped them up just like a gift.
What challenges do I face on an annual basis? I would have to say just being around people in itself is a challenge for me. I mean, I have to fight this compulsion where I need to be around people, but at the same time, I need to avoid being around people. I'm literally having 2 parts of me tugging at each other, never ending. It's a very unpleasant feeling. So I would have to say that is a definite challenge.
After months we saw him changing, Nathaniel's speech was rearranging, so we took him back to see what they could find. And after ironing out the creases, they came up with missing pieces, and they told us that autism's on the rise.
About halfway through middle school, my brother and I were both going to therapists, just because we had difficult behavior. My brother was always different, and he had a hard time socializing with other kids and even socializing with my friends. So, my parents sat me down one day and they said, well, James, Kevin's different than everybody. I'm like, well, yeah, I know this. Well, the doctors tell me like he's got Asperger's and autism. Well, I'm like, well, what's that? And they're like, well, basically that's what Kevin is. That's just him. That's how they label his behavior.
I do not think whatsoever that it has to do with vaccinations. I have 4 children, and all 4 of my children have had the same vaccinations. I do not think the food has anything to do with it. Maybe a little bit, depending, but it has to do with obesity. It has to do with, there's so many different things that the food could have to do with it. For autism, I think it's in the gene, personally. I think, somewhere along the line in the gene somewhere. I don't think it's, or, a medical condition that happened or something. I don't think it's necessarily in a shot.
Kevin has a very good memory, and he's very into concrete, solid facts. He can recite anything he hears that he's into. He'll watch the History Channel and Discovery Channel all the time, and whenever I have free time, he'll come downstairs and he'll talk to me about it. He'll talk to me about all the ice road truckers and all the stuff that's been going on, or all the great history battles that he watches. He'll go on and on about the Civil War, all the stuff that happened back in those days, and he gets, the best part about him is his enthusiasm, how into it he gets.
My coping mechanisms, basically, it's like a mask. I have created several masks of myself, masks that I've come to think that people expect normal people, or what they classify as normal, to act. I have a mask where I can be one of the happiest people as possible. I have a mask where there's nothing but what I need to do for the day. I coax myself into these masks, and that's how I manage to cope.
You know, I said from day one with my son that I was going to discipline him exactly. I wasn't going to treat him any different. He was going to be disciplined exactly like my other children. And I can say that that is the one thing I've accomplished. And he knows that if he does something wrong, if it's inappropriate or whatever, he does know now that he's going to have to deal with mom. He doesn't want to deal with mom. His two things are the going outside. He loves going outside, and his video games. Those two things, if I take those away, those just totally, he shapes up right away and starts listening.
What makes me happy and relaxed? Video games. All sorts, fantasy, RPG, action, first-person shooters. There's just something about the characters, the storyline. A lot of times people hate games like Dragon Age 2 just because it didn't have the same battle style as the first one. I appreciate the story, I appreciate the characters, I appreciate the amount of effort that was put into this game. Video games, for me, it's literally like something I need. I have to fight the urge every time I'm uptown to not stop within a game store and look through the games. There's just too many choices. I have to weigh the pros and cons. Which one has the longest storyline? Which one has the cuter guys? Just which one am I going to be able to bond with these characters? It's through these characters that I've actually learned most about how to be human. I can understand scenarios through them better than I can understand normal humans.
Family life with Michael is interesting at times. He is a very, very good kid. He is into sports. Everything in his life revolves around sports and has since he was 2 years old. He has many good qualities. I end up sometimes sitting there trying to figure out what his mind is thinking. We'll be eating dinner, and in the middle of eating dinner, we'll be having a conversation with all of us, and he will, out of the blue, just come up and say something about the twins one or the wild one, and the rest of the family is like, where did that come from? But that's how his mind is working and what he's thinking at that time, and tries to give you insight of what's going on with him. For the rest of life, Michael really tags along and does everything that we as a family do. He goes to all his brother's hockey games. He goes to his sister's, sporting events. Whatever's going on, he's there and he is rooting them on. He is such a sports fan.
Creating an adventure, creating this new world for these people. I'm actually creating a world where they exist. These people are more than just bits of data. For me, it's almost like they themselves are alive. I live through them, and in a way, it's almost like they are a part of me. I am showing who I am through these characters, and praying that people will be actually able to see the real me through them, despite my social awkwardness.
So like a few weeks ago, we got him to go out to Lindenwood Park with a bunch of my classmates, Tanya and Sephra, and it was a great time because he got to go out and meet, kids and people who are just like him, like they had just the same problems. Kevin is a big introvert. He keeps everything to himself. He doesn't do well around people. So I was kind of concerned, he's going to be around people that are really quiet too. I was like, is he going to be really quiet and self-contained? But no, we went out, he came alive. He had a blast. He picked up sticks, he was chasing me around with Sephra, trying to hit me and stuff. And that's what he had a great time, and I was really surprised. And it really makes me happy to see that. that he's able to get out there. Like, even though he's socially awkward around like regular people, when he's around people that are like him, he doesn't have a care in the world. Like, it's fantastic.
There you go, you're always so right. It's all a big show, it's all about you. You think you know what everyone needs. You always take time to criticize me. It seems like every day I make mistakes, I just can't get it right. It's like I'm the one you love to hate, but not today. So shut up, shut up, shut up, don't wanna hear it. Get up, get up, get up, get out of my way. Step up, step up, step up, you'll never stop me. Nothing you say today is gonna bring me down. There you go, you never ask why, it's all a big lie. Whatever you do, you think you're special, but I know, and I know, and I know, and we know that you're not.